Let's go, girls. Come on.
From New York City to Los Angeles, Powered Up with Beck and Franklin is giving women of all ages permission to live the life they've always dreamed of. Why live in black and white when you can choose the brilliance of 3D and Technicolor? Each week, Sandra, Beck, and Linda Franklin and their high-powered guests will be here to cheer you on, to share their challenges, their successes, and what they've learned along the way. It's all about women supporting women. The stories and practical tips on sex, beauty, money, and so much more are designed to help you reconnect to the powerful woman you are. Fabulous knows no limits. Now it's time for you to expand your boundaries. Here are Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin.
Hey ladies, this is Sandra Beck and I'm here with Linda Franklin, and we have a wonderful show today. We're going to reach all the way around the world to Australia today to bring you Geraldine Teggelove, and I got a box of her products this week, so I've had so much fun, Linda. I can't even tell you how much fun I have had playing around with her oracle cards. She's got horse oracle cards, dog oracle cards, feather oracle cards, and they're not, obviously you're not to talk to the dogs with the oracle cards, but maybe you could, I don't know. But they're beautifully done, and they're just really fun. Like how I just dig all this stuff. And there are a couple CDs in there of meditative music, and you know me, I just gobble this stuff up. So, last night she actually sang me to sleep, which was really fun. And there's a book in there too to read. So it was just really, I love free stuff. B, I love the spiritual stuff. I'm just having a ball.
Well, you get tons of free stuff. I'm not getting any of this, which is fine, because I have just one question for you. How in the hell do you fit into your house after all of these books, tapes, and whatever else you're getting? It must be crazy. You must have a room set aside just for your stuff.
Well, I actually do. To be fair, I do have that. But most of the stuff I end up passing on. I really feel like this spiritual series has done a couple things for me where I'm not only the conduit to bring information forth, but every time we have these guests on, it seems to there's a product that I know just needs to go to this person. So I can't really explain it. But like Rasha's book, I never finished it. I'll be honest, it was too long for me. I couldn't make it through. I made it through about maybe a quarter of it and gave up. But then my friend who's from Iran was like, oh my gosh, I've wanted to read this book for so long. I handed it to her. Out it went. The PMH Atwater stuff, about what happens after you die stuff book. I was talking to my girlfriend who lost her son last year to pediatric brain cancer, a little 4-year-old, and she's like, I really miss him. I wonder where he goes. I just wonder where he is. And I'm like, well, I have the book for you. And I run back in my office, and this stuff doesn't seem to stay with me, Linda. It comes to
good.
me. Yeah, and I keep giving all this stuff away, except my NutriBullet. I kept that.
Do you use it?
I do. I'm going to be buried with my NutriBullet. I will grind myself up. You can cook me in the oven and grind me up in the NutriBullet, and I couldn't be happier.
Well, it's funny. I got one. I used it when the weather was warmer, and now I don't use it in the winter. I don't know why, because maybe there's not so much produce around, or it's too, I'd rather have a hot drink, or I don't know. I just don't use it as much. But I did get a combination pressure cooker, slow cooker, and I just got that last week, and already I've used it 3 times, and I really like that. I mean, that's a winter thing. I think the NutriBullet for me is a summer thing.
Well, you're exactly right, because my NutriBullet, you know what I use it for in the winter? I get a bunch of tomatoes, and I grind it up for my tomato sauce, and I can throw in the onions, I can throw in the tomato, I can throw in the garlic, whiz it up, and it makes this beautiful puree, and then it cooks really fast. The other thing I use it for is I grind up apples and pears. I take the seeds out, obviously, so we don't get cyanide in our applesauce. But for the kids, when I make pork chops and applesauce and sauerkraut, I've been using my NutriBullet it to grind it up because it purees it so beautifully. And then it takes about, you can eat it cold, the applesauce, but the kids love it just warmed up on the stove. And that way, too, I can leave the peels in and get all that extra nutrition in for the kids. So it's just wonderful as a grinder.
Okay. Well, I'm not the cook. I would much rather pick up the phone and order food in, which I've gotten very spoiled and really like to do that. But this other thing is pretty easy. You can just throw your stuff in and it either make it, you can either have it in 20 minutes or you can have it in 7 hours. It depends on what you're doing, but it tastes pretty good, and it's like one pot, and it's I like it. Anything that's easy, I like it a lot.
Yeah, easy cleanup. Just easy cleanup is the name of the game.
I need easy preparation and easy cleanup because, some people just love to cook. To me, the kitchen is a chore. So anything that's, just easy that you can put together but tastes good is a good thing for me.
Yeah. Sometimes I like the ritual of cooking. I like touching my food. And it's funny, if I touch the chicken, I won't eat it. But I like especially preparing the vegetables. I don't know why that's calming to me, even though it's a pain to sit there and cut up the green beans or scrub the potatoes. There's something restful to me in that just causes me to relax. Like if I'm really stressed, I'll go in the kitchen and I'll cook up a soup, and just watching it bubble and, boil, maybe I was a witch in a past life, is calming to me.
Well, maybe you're a witch in a present life. You never know.
Yeah, well, you never know. I'm sure my ex-husband thought so.
Well, you could be a good witch, right?
That's true.
You don't have to be a bad witch. You're a good witch.
I'm a good witch. Yeah. But it's funny that you mentioned, all that stuff. And I think about, the few things that I have kept from all the stuff sent over the years, with the show. And it's just amazing how much there is to know. Like every time we go on the air, I feel like I learned so much, and then I get off and I'm like, it's like the first time I went underwater with a mask and fins, really as a cognizant, not as a little kid paddling around in the lake, but the first time I went diving, and it was like, oh my gosh, there's a whole nother world down here. That's what I feel like with this whole spirituality thing.
Yeah, no, everybody's got something to share, and you're not going to resonate with everybody or everything that's said, but every once in a while you get, that's the light bulb lights up on top of your head, and you say, "Oh, this is important. I like this." And everybody will have a different one, so it's just about what resonates with you, and I think that's why these shows are so good, because if you have a variety of different people, you're going to get to a lot of people that. Not everybody for everything, but it's all really good, and you just add it to your arsenal of stuff. And I really like that idea of adding it to your arsenal of stuff. And I've never followed anybody's program, but what I do is I pull out the best that works for me or that I like, and I make my own. And I think that that's what we have to do.
Well, I think you're right on, because of all the things, this is so weird, but of all the things I used so far, I want to share with you one of the things that worked for me really well last night. Now, a couple of months ago, we had on Patty Conklin, and she was the color healer. Remember the lady who said, look, find your healing color and then pull it up through your feet and blow it out through your head or something like that. That whole thing about color therapy. And I thought, well, I really tried. It didn't work for me. I kept getting yellow, and I just couldn't do the yellow, and I don't know, it didn't work. But last night, my son Max had a really bad kind of flashback from some things that happened to him a couple of years ago, and he was shaking and he was upset. And actually, my dad found him in the closet, and he's only 11, and my dad put him on the bed, and he was hugging him. He says, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And and Max really couldn't articulate it. So I just out of the blue, literally, thought, you know what, I'm going to try this. So he was laying down on his bed, and I said, "Max, I want you to think about what's a healing color for you. If I could heal you with any color and make you feel better, what would it be? And he says, oh, Mommy, it's that blue that I like, that royal blue that I like. So we had him pull it through his feet, up to his legs, to his knees, to his hips, to his chest, to his head. And then I said, okay, now I'm going to pull the blue out of your head. And the blue is going to take all the bad feelings away. It's going to take all the sadness away. It's going to take all the times you were frightened away. And I said, every time I pull the blue out, the white is going to pull into your body, and the blue is going to be replaced by white. And so I kind of was talking to him a little bit, and he says, Mom, my feet are white. Then he's like, my knees are white. And he says, Mommy, the blue is leaving and the white. And I got him to the point where he talked his way through that the white was all the way up to his head. And I said, okay, now all your cells are all nice and shiny clean, and all those bad memories, all those bad feelings, they're going away. It's over now. And he smiled at me and went right to sleep. He said, wow, Mom, I'm really tired. And he went to sleep. And today He woke up a good mood. Who would think, it was just and whether it was a meditation, whether it was a psychic cleansing, whether it was just a loving moment between mother and son, who cares? It worked.
No, that's the bottom line, right? If it works, that's wonderful. No, and then you can use it again the next time, or he can learn to do it himself. That'd be terrific. It's like a meditation almost.
I know, and an easy one, like especially for kids, like it's an easy one. Kids can imagine a color. Your feet are blue, your knees are blue, your hips are blue, and then they're white. That's a really easy concept for kids. Of course, me as an adult couldn't master it. But it did work. And I thought, you know what, why the hell not? Why not try it? What could it hurt?
No, absolutely. And it came to your mind, so it felt like it was right, and it was. So you went with your gut.
I went with my gut, and, sure beat, him being upset all night or me trying to figure out what to do, so many of these shows are, kind of, I look at my tool bag, like we're building up our spiritual tool bag, Linda, you and I, so, we can have all these great tools and we can share them with everybody. I'm going to take us to commercial break now. We're going to be meeting with Geraldine Teggelove, and she is amazing. You guys will really enjoy her. She wants to visit with us from Australia. She's going to bring her practical, mystical, lovely knowledge with her. And she's going to talk to us today about the concept of to know about something and not to do something about it is to not know it at all. So that took me a while to figure out. But when we come back from the break, we're going to meet Geraldine Teggelove coming to us from Australia. You're not going to want to miss this. It's going to be another thing in our bag of tricks, Linda. I can just feel it.
Okay, terrific.
We've got lots more Powered Up with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin after these messages.
Have you heard? The pages of American Patchwork and Quilting magazine come to life on our new weekly online radio show, American Patchwork and Quilting. Join Pat Sloan, our blogging and quilt designer host, as she talks about the latest trends, ideas, and inspirations. Her guests include quilt pattern designers, authors, quilt shop owners, and our editors, all quilters, just like you. Call in with your questions. Get quilting tips from industry experts. Learn about free patterns. Hear behind-the-scenes stories from our magazines, American Patchwork and Quilting, Quilt Sampler, and Quilts and More. Get the scoop on free stuff and find out more about the best independent quilt shops in North America. To listen to a live show, tune in Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Just log on to allpeoplequilt.com/radio. To hear past shows, go to iTunes and search for American Patchwork and Quilting Radio. We hope you'll join us because we know that quilting changes everything.
LinkedIn. It's a great tool and a great way to do business in today's social media-driven world. And Carol McManus is the LinkedIn Lady with the LinkedIn Lady Show. Tuesday and Wednesday afternoons at 4 p.m. Eastern on allbusinessradionetwork.com. The LinkedIn Lady Show is designed to inform, inspire, and educate businesses. Every social media site has a specific demographic, personality, and purpose. And the LinkedIn Lady will interview a variety of guests, such as business owners who can showcase showcase their business and talk about how they use social media, such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google+, Pinterest, and of course, LinkedIn. For more on Carol and the show, check out her website, LinkedInLady.com. As trends change and new applications become available, the LinkedIn Lady Show will bring that information to you in an easy-to-use, fun, and engaging way. Every Tuesday and Wednesday afternoons at 4 p.m. Eastern, it's the LinkedIn Lady Show with Carol McManus on allbusinessradionetwork.com.
We're back with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin. Here's some more Powered Up with Beck and Franklin.
Hey ladies, this is Sandra Beck and I'm here with Linda Franklin, and we are certainly spanning the globe today. We've got Linda Franklin in freezing New York City. We've got Sandra Beck in rainy, nasty Los Angeles. And we've got Geraldine Teggelove coming from us in Australia. And I bet you it's hot there, Geraldine, because you guys are having your summer right now.
Well, we are, Sandra. I must admit it's not terribly hot today, but we are having a beautiful summer. It's just lovely. Thank you.
Well, in the opening segment, I was telling our listeners how much I enjoyed your box came yesterday. So I got to see in person your different oracle cards, the dog one, the feather, the horse ones. I, of course, had to rip them open, even though it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I already saged them, and I got them all ready to go. And I told everybody you sang me to sleep last night because I listened to, I forget which one of your CDs it was, but it was so nice. It was the one where you sang and then there was like silence and music in between, and then you sang some more. And
yeah, that's Secret Places. That's the meditation CD, Sandra.
That's the one, yes. And I listened to it once while I was drawing, and that's what I do. Like before I go to bed, I'll like listen to music and draw, on a sketch pad. And then I was drawing, and the next thing I woke up and I had slept all over my my drawing pad, and my iPod had played until it ran out of battery. But you sang to me, put me right to sleep, and off you go.
Oh, Sandra, I hope I don't have that effect on everybody today, but, at the right time, that's really good. And I know my grandchildren, their mothers put it on at night and they never have any trouble with them going to sleep. So it must work in that way.
It's wonderful.
Going to sleep is never a problem. Sometimes it's staying asleep, so it may have to go through the whole night.
Yes, and Linda, I understand that one.
Yes, I think as we get older, it's the waking up at different times in the night that really get to be a pain.
It certainly does. And for me, the best way is to just go into that meditative state, and I find myself falling back to sleep, quite quickly. So it's worth a try.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm. Now, of course, I didn't really introduce you, and we've all gotten off to a nice chat. But Geraldine, before we continue, will you please introduce yourself to our audiences who may not have been able to see the show promo before they tuned in?
Oh, wow, this is interesting. I've never had to do this before, Sandra. Well, I am, how could I introduce myself? I'm a 64-year-old mother of 3 beautiful children, all doing what they're happily doing in life. I'm the grandmother of 6 of the best grandchildren in the whole wide world, and I'm allowed to say that because I'm their nan. I'm married to a gorgeous man and have been for the last 42 years to Bill. And we've had one of those beautiful happy ever after, which is fabulous. And behind that, I'm also a woman who is going on an incredible journey of change and learning how to redefine myself. And I guess I've had to reinvent myself. And I've done that through becoming a metaphysician and tuning into my intuitive gifts and really becoming, I guess, the author that I've always wanted to be, and helping other people to grow and become the very best they can be. So I hope that it helps.
So how did you, I'm going to jump in here really quickly. So how did you come up with these oracle cards? And, the feather thing, the feather cards, I just have to tell you, those are my favorite. They're just so pretty. And I because I love dogs and I loved horses, I thought, I love the dog. I love the horses. And it was really funny to me that the ones that spoke to me the most were the feather cards.
Well, Sandra, the way I look at life, and yes, I've authored books as well, but we are all very busy people in the world at the moment. And we as women, we're coping with so many different parts of our lives and trying to fit everything in. And then, people say to us, well, you really need to grow and you need to read and do all of these other things as well. And trying to fit that into a busy lifestyle is virtually impossible. But cards, I felt, are a fabulous way that in a busy lifestyle, we can just pick up a card, we can read, we can look at it, we can feel its energy, we can read its little message very quickly, we can throw it in the handbag or in our coat pocket, and we've got that with us for the rest of the day. So we don't have to get out the book, we don't have to carry the book, we don't have to try and find an hour to read a chapter or whatever it is. It's just so much easier to choose a card, and that's your daily card for the day, your daily message, and you can run with that either for the day or the week or however long it feels right for you.
Geraldine, you're a teacher of metaphysics, and for some of our audience listeners, what exactly is that, and what are you doing to heal people? Because it is a very healing modality, right?
It certainly is. Linda, probably the easiest way to explain metaphysics is we would all, if we have a physical illness, we quite often take ourselves to our physician a doctor. And the doctor will look at our physical ailment and prescribe whatever it is that is best for us in that moment to heal that. Quite often it's pharmaceutical products, or it could be rest, or it could be something else. So that's what a medical doctor usually does. Now, a metaphysician is one who looks beyond the physical ailment or the physical problems that you have and goes deeper within that person to find the emotional issue that has first caused the illness or the issue that they may be having at that point in time. So a metaphysician is really looking deeper and finding the beliefs or the perceptions that somebody has about life and what emotions that is bringing up through them. And really that is the root of the problem. And so heal that problem and you will heal the physical issue as well. Now, this is not an easy thing to do, as we all know. I mean, I often say to people, try and get a woman to change their skincare regime. And my goodness, it's like pulling teeth or, pushing against a wall. So as you can imagine, trying to help people to change old beliefs and perceptions that have been there maybe for lifetimes or for generations is quite a difficult thing to do. So my job as a metaphysician is to try and heal those issues and help them to see if they heal the emotions around that, that a lot of their problems and their challenges will fade into nothingness. Does that help? Does that explain?
Oh, absolutely, it helps, and I think you're spot on, and I think a lot of us, including me, that you have issues that you've been carrying around for a long time, and they're not issues that are in your head, in your mind necessarily, because they could be childhood issues that you've forgotten about. But it's your behavior. It's what you do when someone pushes that button that you're not even aware of, that, it just brings back that old behavior because of that old pain. So how do you work with somebody to get rid of that pain?
Well, for me, it's allowing somebody, first of all, to tell me their story. We all have a story. And usually during the telling of that story, there will be things that jump out at me. And I have to also explain, Linda, that during these sessions with people, I also work as an intuitive. So I can connect probably too at the spiritual level to help me understand what is really going on. And I use, I have, believe it or not, which are about to be, I've been working with them for 18 months now to nearly 2 years to make sure that they are exactly what I need. But I have produced a set of emotional healing cards through Nature Spirit, because I work with the spirit in nature. I see that Mother Nature can teach us everything that we really want to know about life, and use the metaphors in nature to help people understand where they're at and how they can overcome things. So with a combination of connecting to their story, and once people begin to tell you their story, so much will come out through that. And I guess it's, am I able to say humbly, it's also a process of age, the wisdom that I guess we gain over a lifetime. And 64 years probably gives me permission to have a little bit of wisdom. And so it's using that, the combination of that wisdom, the intuitive gift that we all have, and by listening to their story and allowing them to live those emotions that they live on a daily basis, allows me then to connect to those issues and or their beliefs.
Geraldine, I need to cut you off right now. I'm going to take us to commercial break. This is Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin visiting with Geraldine Teggelove. You can find more about her by going to GeraldineTeggelove.com. That's TEGGELOVE. When we come back more from the break, we're going to hear more about how she connects with spirit and brings that to us.
We've got lots more Powered Up with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin after these messages.
This is for all you girls about 42. Tossing pennies into the fountain of youth.
Familia, faith, identity, tradición. Latina life is never boring, but it can be muy dramática. So how do you coexist between the old school ways of la abuela and the new school life you're creating for yourself without losing your faith, familia, identity, or tradiciones? Welcome to Living Latina with Francesca Escoto, where culture curls and curves collide in one spicy cross-cultural conversation that will leave you begging for más. Francesca tackles all the important issues, from politics to family values, to religion to, you guessed it, relationships and men. As Chief Everything Officer at the Wow Factor, Francesca is passionate about showing women of all cultures, ages, and lifestyles how to rock what they've got with style, sass, and smarts. Be sure to join her every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time for Living Latina, only on the Woohoo Radio Network. Radio Network presents the Diva Download with Tracy and Tasha. If you think Diva is all about attitude and drama, think again. The Diva Download is the premier online radio program where girls of all ages, shapes, sizes, and colors get together to redefine what it means to be a diva so that all girls can discover their inner diva and develop a healthy sense of self-worth and self-esteem. Being a true diva means you're diverse, involved, value-driven, and active. That's today's diva. If you want to celebrate the girl in your life through education, encouragement, empowerment, and entertainment, join us every week on Tuesdays from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time and celebrate the essence of being a girl only here on the Woohoo Radio Network.
We're back with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin. Here's some more Powered Up with Beck and Franklin.
Hey ladies, this is Sandra Beck and I'm here with Linda Franklin and this is Powered Up Talk Radio. We are visiting today with Geraldine Teggelove, and for those of you who missed the first half of the show, you can pick us up on iTunes under Powered Up Talk Radio. You can pick us up on TogiNet, our host station, that's TOGINET.com under Powered Up Talk Radio, or our .com by the same name. Now, Geraldine Teggelove is a very, very interesting, insightful person because she is a metaphysician. She is a counselor and she is a healer. And I have had the joy of having an experience with her. She does have her doctorate in metaphysics, and it was just a really amazing experience that I had in working with her, even though I'm in Los Angeles and she is in... Geraldine, what city are you in Australia? Are you in Brisbane?
No, we're in Melbourne, Sandra.
You're in
way
Melbourne.
Down under. Yes.
Way down under. So what I'm curious about, and I think, Linda, you can share this curiosity with me, is when people come to you to be healed, for lack of a better word. We've got a problem. We have issues in our life. We want to be healed. We want to be guided. How does it work with you? And can you give us an example of a story that has produced really good results? Because I think, like for me, I never went to anyone metaphysical before I started this show. So I've met a shaman, I've met a psychic, I've met a color therapist. You're the first real intuitive that I've met, and certainly natural intuitive. So everybody's a little different, but I wanted you to share a little bit about how you work and tell us one of your success stories.
Oh, wow. Okay. I have to make it very clear first, Sandra, that it's probably, when you work with people, it's understanding that they're not really my success stories. It's the person who's finally made the decision to heal their life. And I'm just the helper along the way that perhaps triggers some things within them that helps them to do their own healing. I don't profess to heal anybody, really. I just offer them the tools and maybe ask the right questions whereby it gives them that little spark of hope or that inspiration or that path to heal themselves. So I'd like to say that up front. I have lots of people who come to me quite often with depression. That's a big one. The other big one is, getting over that relationship that didn't work out. And people find that very hard to come to terms with. And I've been working with a lady recently who had gone through this breakup of a relationship, and it had occurred 5 years previously, 6 years I think it was, and she was still holding on to that in unbelievable ways and feeling quite unwell in her life, and work was a struggle. Everything seemed to be going wrong. And when she told me her story, it was all about this breakup with this man. And she was hanging on to this for dear life So for her, my question was, what is the emotional need that he is still fulfilling in your life? And it usually comes down to that question. If you're still holding on to something, it is still fulfilling an emotional need within you. And it was for me, helping this lady to understand what the emotional need was. And for her, it came out, just gurgled up from the unconscious mind, that if she let go of him, then what else did she have in life? What else, as far as love went, what else would she have? Who else would love her? And it was really sad to think that she believed that if she let go of him and that love connection was disconnected, then she wouldn't have anything. And so it was helping her to grow an understanding that she needed to begin with herself and love herself enough to see her uniqueness and her magnificence as a beautiful soul traveling on this planet. And also, and I would say this for most people, it's the forgiveness. Forgiveness, or should I say the lack of forgiveness, causes the lack of whatever we have in our life. And that's a big statement, but it's truth. If we can't forgive ourselves or we can't forgive the other person, believe me, science now proves to us that it's like taking poison and expecting the other person to die. And once she discovered what she was holding on to, she very quickly learnt to let it go and built this amazing belief system within herself that she was worthy and deserving of so much more. And she began to love herself. And I'm happy to say that she is beaming from ear to ear, and she's now decided to go back to she's an artist, she's going back to her drawing and her painting and absolutely loving life, and she's moving into another area of teaching, and she is just, a ball of fun to be with. So that is just one little story of a person who has moved through the challenge and is now on the road to recovery.
How long did that process take, working with this woman?
Linda, I think I had 5 sessions with her. It does take a little while. For some, they can jump quickly, but for others, letting go is the problem. They want to hang on to it for dear life, and they want to continue to tell you their story. So my job is, I guess, to suggest to them that when would now be a good time to let go of the old story and begin to live a new one. I'm of the belief that, as Deepak Chopra would say, I believe that we need to live backwards in time. And by living backwards in time, we no longer have to live in the past. I love that idea that we create our future right now, and then we don't have to visit the past.
Yes.
If we need to go back to memories, it's okay, so long as we don't have an emotional response to them.
Well, they said we just learn, and it's a learning process to live in the moment. We're all going to be a lot happier, but for some reason, it really is difficult for so many people just to embrace the moment that we're in. And when you look at it, I mean, that's all we have. So, why it's so difficult for people to get that?
Yeah, I think it's, it's letting go of all the anger and the resentment and the guilt and the shame and all of those things, Linda. And I always suggest to people the very best way, only because, I find connecting to the energy in nature is absolutely beautiful. It's, even if it's just for 5 minutes a day where you can go out and, I know this sounds really way out there, but Have you ever sat and just watched a bee collecting nectar from flowers? Do that for 5 minutes and you've lost the whole concept of time. Time just disappears. Or stood under the night sky filled with stars and just pondered or contemplated the enormity of the universe. And I guarantee you're living in the moment, and once again, time disappears. Those are the little things that we can do every day to lose that whole time thing that we've created as physical beings and just get caught up in the moment.
Well, and don't you girls think, like, I think of this experience that I had sitting in the courthouse of all places, waiting for something to do with my custody with my kids. And I was talking to this lady next to me, and she told me this story about her husband, who was such a crabby old coot. And he got bonked on the head. That's why they were there, for some lawsuit. And he lost his memory. He lost his memory from the time he was like 12 to like 25, where all this trauma had happened to him. And he was so angry about all this trauma. And then when he forgot the trauma because of the head injury, he became a very, very pleasant person to be around, very nice person. She jokingly says, other than the rehab and the bill, she's like, bonking him on the head was actually a good thing. It made his life more peaceful. But I thought about it, and it's like when we're talking about stories, we become a collection of our stories. And if we don't work on letting feelings go when they first happen, we can kind of collect them over time, and they actually can be incorporated into our identity. When you talked about that lady who felt like she had to tell her story over and over and over, people can do that, and then it can be like woven into the very fabric of who they are as their identity. So that disconnect, the longer I think you do that, wouldn't it make to reason the longer it would take to disconnect that stuff?
Yes, Sandra. And it's just that, that old story, and often they've collected. Well, it's a bit like the fish that gets bigger. When you tell the fisherman tells the story, and the fish gets bigger every time he tells that story. And every time we tell our story, it seems to grow. and the sad part is that the negative side of the story grows even bigger. And look, it's a law of the universe, let's face it, that the more we think on something, the more we ponder it, the more we tell the story, it is naturally going to grow bigger and better.
Wow, I got to take us to commercial break. We're going to talk about that when we get back from break. We're going to talk about we just had a little blip in there. I'm going to take us to commercial break. This is Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin with Geraldine Teggelove. We're going to talk more about the universal laws at play when we come back from the break.
We've got lots more Powered Up with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin after these messages.
If you're ready for a big change in your work, your career, your happiness, your life, it's time for the $1 Million Mindset with Marla Tabaka. Monday afternoons at 2, 1 Central on TogiNet.com. Marla believes that with the right mindset, anything is possible. Join us as successful life coach Marla Tabaka inspires you and her clients to explore, discover, and live your dreams by developing what she calls the $1 Million Mindset. Marla will inspire you to take action on your dreams and reveal secrets to success that will help you realize your own unique power. Tune into the $1 Million Mindset for heartwarming stories with Marla Tabaka. Learn tips and tricks to building a successful business and unlock the secrets to creating a happier, more balanced life through abundant thinking and attraction power. For more information on the $1 Million Mindset, go to our website, marlatabaka.com. That's MarlaTabaka.com. It's the $1 Million Mindset with Marla Tabaka. Monday afternoons at 2, 1 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com.
This is Uncommon Sense for Leaders, a forum for exploring leadership from the intellect, the heart, and the spirit. Whether you're a leader now or aspire to be a leader in the future, you owe it to yourself to learn about the big ideas that have shaped the careers of compelling communicators, masters of influence, and highly effective leaders. Uncommon Sense for Leaders. Tune in to hear thought-provoking ideas on every aspect of leadership. You can expect dynamic discussions with special guests, quick tips you can apply immediately for better results, and the tools you need to take you from where you are to where you want to be as a leader. Are you ready to crack the code for achieving unprecedented results? Then join the host for Uncommon Sense for Leaders, Catherine Carlisi, every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the All Business Radio Network.
We're back with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin. Here's more Powered Up with Beck and Franklin.
Hi, ladies. This is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Linda Franklin, and we are visiting with Geraldine Teggelove today. And she has got some really, really cool products, girls. So you're going to want to check out her website. Some of her stuff is available on Amazon. She can ship here. I'm living proof that she can ship here right to the United States. And if you really want to enjoy some beautifully done products, whether they're musical, literary, or those oracle cards, which I totally dig. I want to talk about oracle cards this segment. You need to order a set for yourself because they're just so much fun. And Geraldine, your little booklet that comes with the oracle cards are, it's just so easy to walk through them. But I would like to know how you learned to read oracle cards and like, you know, how do you, like, what's your best practice, especially for somebody like me who's just starting out?
Right, Sandra. Well, with cards, and I often say to people, the first thing to understand that we all have intuition. We have that sixth sense. And particularly as women, I think, we tune in to other people, how they're feeling, what they're doing, da-da-da-da-da. With the cards or giving yourself a reading, you have to get used to learning to listen very closely. And it's always the first thing that drops into your mind. So if you pick up a card or you ask the question first, what is it that I need for today? What would be great for me to connect to today? And then choose a card. And when that card comes in front of you, you can look at the card, hold it in your hand, feel its energy. You can open the little booklet and read the message if you like. But what I suggest you do first, you ask, what is this saying to me right now? Now, I have to explain. Spirit speaks in very few words. Now, the spirit that I'm talking about is not necessarily the spirit, other people who have passed over, or the Great Spirit, which some people would call God or Divine Mind or whatever name you like to put to that amazing energy. I'm talking about the spirit within you, that unconscious part of you that knows all things. So when you ask the question of the card, what is the special meaning in this card for me today? Spirit speaks in very few words. I mean, they don't drop in a whole paragraph. They don't even drop in a sentence usually. They maybe tell you one or two words. And those two words that you hear straight away, don't second guess it. That's the message. And sometimes you'll go, why? Well, what does that mean? Now, if you don't quite get it immediately, I guarantee you that throughout the day, it'll come back to you and you'll think, yes, that's why I chose that card today. You will experience some person or some little challenge or something that you're going through that day, and the card will jump back into your mind and you'll think, that's exactly why I needed that card today. I need to be really kind to this person today. Or maybe I need to focus on success today rather than failure. Maybe, it could be 101 different messages. Your intuition is always there. Connecting to it can be as simple as that. Just saying, what is this what meaning does this have for me in my life today? Some people hear it, words. I usually hear words. I often see. Some people will see. Some people will feel, get a feeling within them, and run with it. Don't second guess it.
Does it matter if you use electronic cards or physical cards? Like, I like physical cards because I can feel them, but then I have these apps on my phone that I enjoy as well. Like, does spirit like text?
Yeah. In this quantum world we live in, Sandra, and we all live in a quantum field constantly. And if we understand that, then quantum, as you know, physicists will tell us that it can jump from, one point to another, just like that. So in the quantum world, it does not matter whether we have a physical card in our hands or whether we have an app. It all depends on what feels best for you. I love to have the physical because I love to feel it, feel the energy of it in my hand. But then I'm sure if I really worked on it and I had an app, then I could look at that and I could connect to the energy. The same as, doing a reading for somebody via Skype. I can just connect to their energy and kind of feel what they're feeling. So it can go either. It doesn't really matter. Whatever's best.
Okay, because I found that the more I use my app, the better reading I get. And at first it was awful, and then I switched from my cards to my phone just because I had my phone handy. Linda, you had a bunch of questions, and I'm sorry I was hogging up the show.
No, I would just wonder. I'm curious if you have any male patients because men don't seem to be as adaptive to this type of work as women are. Maybe they're afraid of it, or they don't think it's masculine enough, or it takes away some of their macho. What can we do to get men involved in really digging inside to reveal some of their emotional stuff?
Oh, Linda, if I had the answer to that. It would be sensational, but I must say that I do have men coming. I ran, I haven't got them going at the moment. I used to run what I called metaphysical circles, where people came together once a month and we discussed all of these things. And I set the intention to run a men's circle. And it was really interesting how they just appeared. And we started this men's circle. And it worked well, but there was still, women open to, because we're emotional beings, I think, we open to the whole emotional well-being of our lives, whereas men tend to hold that back. And I'm sure it's a generational thing. I know from experience when we went through our whole financial disaster, Bill was brought up in the generation where he felt that he was the breadwinner of the family and he had to do whatever he could. I kept saying to him, hang on, Dallas, I'm here too. I can do this as well. But they have, I think you're right. It's very hard for them to connect to their emotions and really let them out and explore them.
Well, I think I agree with you, too, that it is a generational thing, and I think that many of the men today are a little more pliant, and they want to find out these answers, too. And it's really terrific. I mean, it's usually if it's a couple, one person, usually the woman, is going to delve into all of this wonderful metaphysical, spiritual material that's out there and practice it herself, and the husband not. And it would be really great if the husband could embrace some of that too, because it's just another connection that you have with this other person in your life.
And I often say to women, because I have a lot of women who ask me that, Linda, and I say to them the very best way you can begin that is not by trying to convert them, not by preaching at them, but just in your own little quiet way, see it happening. I mean, you've got the power to create and see these things happening. So if you quietly go about every day visualizing your partner being interested in what you're doing, being interested in discovering who they are, it will eventually happen. And they'll do it in their own way, not trying to convert them or trying to push them into anything. It slowly gets across to them and they will change. But you have to just see that happening.
Yes, I think that the women, like you say, they just have to be very patient and very generous with that, because men are different. It just is. They just are, and they may go kicking and screaming, but eventually they may get a little morsel that they say, oh, there might be something to this.
And you have to, let's face it, girls, you have to let them believe that they're doing it themselves, and they're the first ones to discover it. And you kind of go, oh, really? How good is that?
I just enjoy listening to you guys. I was sitting here with my cup of tea, and it was like we were all, it's amazing to me when you talk a little bit about quantum energy and things like that. And I just think, I just want to acknowledge today that you're in Melbourne, I'm in Los Angeles, Linda is in New York City, and for the three of us to get together like this and just share this conversation, I feel like I just had lunch with two good girlfriends.
Isn't it wonderful? It is such a blessing. Technology is just fabulous. I love it. And to be able to connect with you two today has been, wonderful. Such beautiful souls. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Go
ahead.
Do we have a minute? I know it's a minute. But, if you can say it in two sentences, what do you see for the world in 2015? Are we going to head down a more
We certainly, from my perspective, Linda, I think we've all felt change is happening. And I believe that the next couple of years, we're going to see a much more peaceful path for individuals. And of course, as individuals, if we connect to that peaceful path and that loving path, we will change the world. It happens at one person at a time. And I do see a beautiful path.
Well, I'm going to thank these two beautiful people on behalf of Linda Franklin and myself, Sandra Beck. I want to thank Geraldine Teggelove for being our guest today. I want you guys to check out her site. It's Geraldine, Geraldine, Teggelove, Teggelove. You can't miss it. She's fabulous. Buy her products, listen to her show, do her stuff. She's just awesome. And I'm so, so happy that you guys were here with me today. I had a wonderful show.
We're so glad you joined us for Powered Up with Beck and Franklin. Sandra Beck, Los Angeles-based single mother and technology company owner, knows what it's like to be fit, funny, and fantastic in your 40s. Linda Franklin, a New Yorker with a successful marriage and